nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and on all forms of social media. The Fun Fans podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
Yeah, and Reuben's is the official spot to eat for Fun Fans. Food, sports, spirits, and catering, the best wings around, with 2 locations in the upstate of the great state of South Carolina, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. You can find them at reubensc.com. Reuben's is simply a great place to eat.
Yes, it is. So, all right. So let's just jump straight to the obvious.
You think Reuben's got any Easter ham today?
I don't know. They may not even been open today.
Yeah, they probably closed.
But they were celebrating the one in here in Greer on this side near me was celebrating 6 years, I believe, is what they put on social media. Time flies. It's just kind of wild.
Hey, I want you to guess, how many times do you think you've eaten there in 6 years?
In 6 years?
Yeah. You could be one of their all times.
Oh, I'm sure. I need a punch card. I've told them I need one of those punch cards.
Yeah.
Go 9 times, the 10th time should be free or half price or something.
I would think so.
But no, I just appreciate them being a sponsor. That's for sure. And you should go try it out. We don't talk about it just because it's someplace I like. The food is good. And they seem to be adding new menu items here of late. So other than bands this time of year. So check them out for sure. So jumping straight to, let's reflect for a minute. The Clemson basketball season is over.
Mm-hmm.
A month ago, we were worried about, or, people, we felt like we were in. Everybody's saying that we were in. We were in. But there may have been some question for some people. Maybe we were a bubble team. We were worried about being a double bye or bye team for the ACC tournament and all this kind of stuff. And we ended up making it to the Elite 8 in the dance.
Yep. Second time in school history is the farthest Clemson team has ever advanced. And it shows you, if you remember last night, Alabama's never been either.
That's right.
So it shows you how it's not like something you just put on your schedule. Right.
It's not just because you're a big school that's good at athletic. Tennessee, watching that game against Purdue, Tennessee's never been, according to the commentators. And, they obviously have a traditioned athletic program. So it's definitely not just something you put on your schedule. Let's just check this off the list, make it to the Final Four.
Yeah, we used to trade schedules, and I'd get other coaches and they would send me their schedule so we could make sure we had the same date to match up. And that was before, hey, we could just do this via email or Zoom, but we would actually send them a hard copy or we would attach it to an email. And some people would put state championship on their schedule. Now, that's assuming a lot.
We did that.
Yeah.
It should be the goal, in my opinion,
is the goal
for the team, but for the fan standpoint, and being an expectation is definitely something that's man, I'm telling you, I watch these games and it's like we've said all season long, Clemson is Clemson is a Final Four team. Okay. This year, but on any given night, Clemson can get hot. Somebody can get hot. For teams that I was thinking about this last night, those schools, huge props, as much as we may or may not like them. And we respect these programs, the North Carolinas, the Dukes, the Kansas, the Kentuckys, the UConns of the world.
Sure.
Over and over again to be able to make it through the tournament in a one and done type format is pretty doggone good. That's huge props. So reflection, focusing back on the Clemson season, historic, potentially the best. I've put on social media a couple times, the best team. I even put on one, Wayne Buckingham says, refers to one of his teams as the best team in Clemson history. Kind of gives.
Well, they are the only ones to win an ACC championship.
Win the ACC, so he's kind of jabbing at some of the other players on some of the other teams. So just kind of throwing that out there, Buck, is maybe this is the best Clemson team, maybe, maybe not, but just a great experience for the fans. Your daughter was able to spend the weekend in LA. I
Yeah.
think I saw her at a Dodgers game.
Yep.
Just an unbelievable experience. The fans all the way on the West Coast, maybe that don't normally get to see Clemson in person, getting to see some of that stuff. So really, some really, really good, fun fan stuff. And we're proud of the team and appreciate those kids and what they've done. And I think the future's bright. I know it's hard. It's not like the old days 2 years ago when you could look at your team and say, well, this guy will move up and this guy, and we'll bring in this freshman. You never know who's still going to be on your team tomorrow. But you never know who you're going to get as well. But I think we have some really good players that are not finishing up this year. If they stay with us,
If they stay, I mean, you can look at. I mean, you could. Nobody's exempt from
no,
leaving. I mean, it just depends on what somebody wants to pay him to go play somewhere else.
right.
And that's sad. I mean, it really is.
It's
But
pretty sad.
they were talking about NC State on the TV a minute ago, like, oh well, they're just such an old team, and they've got these guys. Every kid in their starting five is a transfer,
Well, yeah, there you go.
and it's odd for me because maybe this whole situation has gained some respect for the ACC. It's hard to believe that the ACC, which was the premier basketball conference in America for the better part of 50 years, is now all of a sudden no good, yet 4 teams make it to the Sweet 16 and 3 of them make it to the Elite 8.
Well, since you brought it up, Bailey.
Or actually, 4 of them made it to the Elite 8, didn't they? North Carolina get beat Thursday
North Carolina,
night.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, we had 25%
Sweet
of
16.
the Sweet 16.
Right.
We had 3 of 8. Not going to do the percentage in my head of the last 8 or something like that.
It's like 38.75.
But since you brought it up,
or a little less.
Quick rant. The media has a lot of control in what goes on in our society nowadays. ESPN has put a lot of money into the SEC. Who do you think they're going to promote as being the best conference? And I'm not saying they were a bad conference.
No,
they
good.
had some really, really good teams. Obviously, Tennessee played today. Alabama beat us last night. But they got 8 teams in.
But I understand what you're saying. I don't deal in conspiracy theories.
Well, it's not. I think it's financial. There's financial bias, and it's not a bias. You're gonna promote what you've invested your money in. If you've invested in, I don't know, just throwing out Chevrolet, you're not gonna buy Ford,
right?
Vehicles. So I don't know.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you that the teams like Wake Forest, maybe Syracuse, heck, maybe Boston College, they all had arguments. There were teams in the ACC that had arguments. You look at NC State, they had to win the tournament and continue to win. All right. Well, did you watch the post-game interview with DJ Burns?
Just now? No.
Yeah. So it's so funny. Have I not talked all year about how long the season is?
Long season. Yes.
They literally start official first day of practice mid-October. Okay, it's Easter. And he's like, they said, well, what's the biggest turnaround in the tournament? He goes, well, he said, guys are locked in. Guys aren't being late for meetings. Nobody's clowning around on the court at practice. I'm paraphrasing now. But he's like, everybody just kind of decided we needed to do the right thing. Yeah. So, Alabama, look at Alabama. All right, we're going to talk about that game. I'm going to imagine we're going to break that down here in a second.
Sure.
But, they had guys hurt. First time we played them, they had a guy hurt. This time they had a guy hurt, but it just happens. It's a long season. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, all right, speaking of the games, let's back up and go in chronological order here. The Arizona game, another game, great defense. Clemson still, you and I were texting, really, we never had a game where our offense got really, really hot as a whole.
Wait a minute. We weren't texting because I don't text during the games.
No, I don't mean during the games. Yeah. I mean just at some other times that we were
We're
like,
we're
we
we
hadn't got hot yet.
we figured out a formula to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we didn't need to have a hot offensive game. I it's just it is what it is. Ugly it up. Ugly it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what we did.
I'm telling you, Chase Hunter, in my opinion, was the best player for us in the tournament. I know that PJ gets a lot of attention, as he should. Chef is an outstanding player. He might be right there in there with PJ, and then the rest of them do a great job. But in my opinion, without Chase Hunter, we would have been we may have only just won that first round game and been done.
Well,
But
and I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say Arizona, we held the number 2 team to less points than ever and just did what we had. Like you say, we uglied it up
You
and did what we
ugly
had
it
to do.
up, man.
That was good.
And
That's a good way
so
to put it.
and so that's what if you're not as talented as the other team, I've done this before, James. If
I
you're not as
know.
talented as the other team, you have to find an angle that gives your team a chance to win. So what did Clemson do out of like 3 timeouts or underneath out of bounds? They executed slip screens, which is evidently something they saw on film, that because even though Gerard did not play well, he takes one defender out of every possession.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they go, oh, they're screening for Gerard. I got to step out and help. Big guy slips to the basket, 2-hand dunk.
Right.
I mean, it's beautiful stuff if you ask a basketball coach. But it just, hey, win ugly, better than losing pretty. I can
Yeah,
tell you that.
and Arizona just won. Like Arizona, you could put a highlight reel together with some of the things they did.
Yeah, those dunks, those
They
2 points. That's all. 2
they
points.
still couldn't. They just couldn't put it all together. The Tigers were too much defensively, basically. So that was really, really awesome. I mean, that feeling of winning that game in the Sweet 16, making it to the Sweet 16 was awesome. But it was, it's hard to describe as a fan, a longtime fan, and kind of a rare thing. Obviously, for Clemson, it was, to me, it was right up there with winning a playoff game in football. So
for a guy, for just a kid from Clover, when my son goes, "Are you okay, Dad?" All right. First of all, last weekend we advanced to this weekend. I can't believe it. Like, I'm stunned. I may have had a little, welling up, tear rolling down
just a
my
little
face.
bit.
Thursday night, they were real.
Yeah.
I had one dripping out because I have pulled for Clemson basketball forever, and I don't pull for anybody else. I don't have a team in football and a team in basketball. That's the easy thing to do if you like Clemson football. Find another team to pull for. Okay, I pull for the Tigers. Good, bad, ugly, or Sweet 16 or
That's
Elite
right.
8.
That's
All
right.
right.
Yeah, I definitely had since we're going to put it all out there, the thought went through my mind, what happens, the same thing when we're in the playoffs or winning national championships in football, that my grandfather that took me to Clemson started when I was little. Boy, he sure would love to have
Right.
seen us. And, thinking about him and the crew we went to games with, and I was raised like that. So definitely thought that he sure would love to have seen us. Or he's looking down, watching Clemson advance to the Elite Eight. So
Well, I told my son, I said, "Hey, Whit, last time we made it to the Elite Eight was 1980." I said, "Pull up the roster on your phone." I said, "I bet you I could name 8 of them." And
did
I
you
got
get it?
7. I got
There you
7.
go. Very good. All right.
But
Well,
remember it like it was yesterday.
so what about the Alabama? And I know what you're going to say. I'm setting you up, Bailey. Let's hear it. What was different last night against Alabama?
Nothing. I mean, we played good defense early. And it would be bad if I didn't shout out to Godfrey and Wiggins, who played. Godfrey really grew up a little bit in this tournament, so I hope he sticks around. But Alabama can score. Period. All right. You are not going to defeat a team that is shooting that percentage from the 3-point line.
That's right.
Now, unless you decide to say, okay, we're not going to help off of the drive. We're going to let you drive it one-on-one. And if you score 2 points, great. Because we were helping and kicking out, and they were making them. Give them credit. They made them.
Oh,
they are explosive. I mean, they are explosive. And
hand in their face.
Yeah, the Pringle kid inside, he's from South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm not going to mention his name, but the Alabama coach, so I just did technically. He's not a very likable person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
And if you were to go back and watch the post-game handshake, there's all these little things I notice when I'm watching these games. Watch the post-game handshake between Brownell and Nate Oates. It's a good game. There was an embrace between Shire and Kevin Keats today because you have respect for the people you play against. Other coaches embrace Brad Brownell, but Oates, I can't. I'm not going to defame or slander.
Well, it's all right.
Online.
It's just your opinion. Hey, maybe Pringle will come back to Tiger Town. Speaking of, like I say, you never hate to lose anybody, but you never know who we might pick up.
Well, they're going to have to pick up a couple anyway.
Bring it on. Bring it on. But I agree, and I knew you were going to say that, and I don't care what anybody says. I know people are throwing out online, we need to defend the 3 better. I don't know what we could have done any better. We're in the kid's face. They're backing up even further. They're catching the ball. I mean, the 1-3, the kid caught the ball, and his left foot was in the semifinal bracket of the graphic in mid-court. He set shoots from however many feet away from the goal that is, and it goes in. He was just unconscious, and the Stevenson kid was hitting his as well.
Right, and that's a bonus player that they got.
Yeah. So, there was this. They were just the difference. We were playing as well as we played.
Yeah.
All tournament, and they were just draining threes like nobody's business. The only thing to stop that would have been if one of our players would have happened to have gotten hot. That would have been nice. And people are talking about, and we did miss too many free throws, but I really think if we would have shot our normal free throw percentage, I don't know that would have been enough to get us to win.
The adjustments that, that's why I don't text during the game. That's why I don't look at social media during the game, because most people don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to say, though.
Here's the thing. You can't make that defensive adjustment in a 1-game turnaround in a 3-day tournament. Okay. Right. You have 1 day to practice. It's probably at USC or UCLA where there's 1,000 cameras. So it's hard to do in 1 day. It's like,
well, let me ask you, did we change something about the 5 or 6 minute mark at the end? Did we try some different defense? I heard the commentator say that
we played a matchup zone. That's what won the Arizona game.
So, but we switched to that late. But then that's when they started getting all, like you were saying, they started getting all the open.
No, shots. Jay Wright was totally wrong on TBS last night. He said, "Oh, when Clemson went zone, Alabama got hot." No, they didn't. They were hot the whole second half.
That's what and it started at the end of the first half.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about a team on getting hot, having a run. It started with about 6 minutes to go in the first half and lasted the whole rest of the game.
Right. I mean, that's how they played all year.
Yeah.
And they had some ups and downs, because if you play a team like that and they're not shooting it well, guess what? Clemson wins that game by 15 points. We're not even having this conversation.
Right.
But they did make them. They made them. Give them credit. Way to go.
Good job, Bama. And good job, UConn, Bama, Purdue, and NC State. Those are our final 4 for 2024. So it is set. UConn plays Bama. So hopefully Bama's hot. In my opinion, Bama's going to have to be hot to play against UConn. But if they're hitting like that, they probably can beat anybody. The Purdue and NC State game should be interesting, and we don't have to sit here and break that down or anything. We can talk about it later, but
that is the game that I would rather watch than UConn. UConn is really good.
They're
really
extremely
good.
good.
They
They're
held Illinois scoreless for 15 minutes and went on a 30-0 run in the Elite Eight. All
yeah,
right, that's who Clemson would have had to play.
they're kind of ridiculously good.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully, Bama plays great defense. If they're hot and they're like I say, they're definitely good enough to make it a game. Be interesting to see what the spread is. I'm just going to be honest. We talk about what's the fun fan, and I don't know that the Purdue NC State game, unless you're obviously a fan of one of those two teams, that one does not sound that I'm not going to cancel any other plans to watch that one. Just going to be honest.
Well, if you're a basketball guy, what? So
Well, what's enticing about that
well,
those two
Purdue
teams?
they play I mean, Purdue plays. Purdue's more of an old school new team. You know, like they're it's 2024, but they still play through the post. NC State plays through the post. Um, you know, I have I guess a slight connection to NC State. Burns played for us in the 8th grade.
Oh,
He was on
really?
our JV team. His mother's from Clover. And I know Larry Dixon, who's an assistant at NC State. He used to be the head coach at York. And he was assistant at Winthrop, and DJ was at Winthrop. So there's a connection there. Every time they show his mom and dad, I mean, those are people that I know.
Bailey's waving. Hey, mom and dad.
Um,
Okay, well, see, that's different. So
plus,
that's
I
different.
like watching Purdue play. I mean,
I
Edie's good, but they got guys that can shoot it. They run motion offense. They do good stuff.
Well, looking forward to. I'll more than likely watch it anyway.
But the up and down game, Alabama, UConn is probably going to be more enticing.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking.
Alabama may have trouble shooting in the dome.
Speaking of what else is fun to watch, we've pointed this out before. The women's games are now, especially after the first round or two, they are very, very close, exciting games. It's super fun to watch. Some of them girls just go off. Our friends in Columbia, the Lady Gamecocks, are headed to another Final Four. And tomorrow night, all eyes will be on Iowa with Caitlin Clark versus LSU. So that one, are we going to rumble in the jungle? That one needs a nickname.
I don't know, but it should be pretty intense.
Carolina
is 36-0.
It's crazy.
And I did get some information because I asked a question about gold in their uniform.
All right, let's hear
Those are the cocky uniforms. That gold supposedly matches the cocky's feet and beak.
Okay.
Because they integrated that into a school color. All right, next.
Well, you know what? Those girls seem to have plenty of
energy.
They have to be going to w.gg, but they definitely should be entering promo code FUNFANS to get 10% off of their Jitterless Energy drink. If you're looking for some Jitterless Energy and some great taste, go to w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS. Plus, you'll also be supporting the podcast here. So, all right, let's go. Last thing about the dance. Bailey, you realize you've taken over the leaderboard of the Fun Fan podcast?
I didn't, because I threw all my brackets in the garbage because I was so focused on Clemson.
So just want to tell the fans out there, neither one of us are going to win or going to get the prize. Okay, we're going to give the prize to the top person in the pool that's not one of us. And right now, it might be your daughter.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if we may not get the prize, but I'm going to brag about it if I win.
There's no doubt. And
I can't win the one that's got 800 people in it. I got to win the one that's got
26.
The W Energy Pack.
Yeah. And really, just if Katie wins, we might still give it to the next person. I don't want anybody thinking it's rigged or something like that, and we're getting it.
It's automatic. It's generated from a computer. How can it be rigged?
I know. I'm just paranoid about stuff like that.
But if you just watch 60 Minutes, you know that's not true because, anyway, watch 60 Minutes on the Russian stuff with the computers.
Okay. All right. So speaking of 60 Minutes, softball took about 60 minutes to beat BC one time this weekend.
Yep.
10-run ruled them. They took the series. I don't think they swept Boston College, but I know they took the series. I know baseball took the series from Miami.
Yeah, they lost the first game.
Lost the first game, and Miami's kind of early in the season. Don't know what they're doing in baseball, but Miami's usually pretty
Really
good
good, really
in
good.
baseball. So that's the baseball team. Just keep on rocking. Softball as well. Clemson gymnastics. The regional things coming up soon. I hadn't seen anything about that, so I guess it's coming
It's
soon.
April 4th through 7th. They're in the Florida Regional.
Oh
There's
yeah,
eight other schools will be there. There's like 5 sites.
awesome. There you go.
Yep.
Bailey has entered the script. Good job.
Yes.
All right. Last thing. What else started this weekend?
The UFL.
The UFL. This is Bailey's team, the Arlington Renegades. Did you watch their game yesterday?
No.
They
I
lost.
watched some of the game today, and it should be the U fall asleep.
I thought it was good. Which game did you watch?
Whatever one is on today.
Oh, there were two.
I have trouble. I have trouble getting into football here in the springtime.
Well, you got to pick a team.
Arlington lost thanks to Matt Corral's touchdown, pass to Deion Kane, former Tiger, Matt Corral, former Panther,
Yeah.
and Ole Miss quarterback. So I do know that much.
And my Houston Roughnecks lost today as well.
Now I watched some of that, I think. Yeah, they were down the whole game to the Memphis Showboats.
To the Memphis Showboats. Not a good start for our teams. We're going to come back Wednesday and talk a little more football. And about one thing I think is really cool is how the rules are a little bit different than NFL or college. And they're doing some things to make it more fun and interesting. But we'll touch on that. Save that for another show. And also get into Wednesday might be all football since Clemson's spring game is Saturday. But I do want to point out Jake Bates for Michigan Panthers of the UFL. He hit a 64-yard field goal to win the game against St. Louis. So
the good thing about that league is that they should all be auditioning for a chance to play in the NFL.
Well, that's the thing. Every one of them, yeah, they're one little baby step away from being in the NFL. So they're playing hard. I thought it was good football to watch. And like I say, it was better when you picked a team. I had an easier time watching the Roughnecks game today than I did. I was kind of pulling for your team yesterday. So anyway,
well, thanks.
Speaking of pulling for some teams, when's the Masters?
Week after next.
All right, so that's coming. But how are the O's doing?
2-1. They scored 23 runs in their first 24 runs in their first two games combined. And I was watching it, and I went to the grocery store, and I had it on my phone, and I'm watching it, and I go in the grocery store for like 15 minutes tops yesterday. It was 3-1 O's. When I come out, it was 12-3 O's.
Wow.
So, of course, I had to come back here and run it back and watch it to see what happened. But today they got they didn't hit the ball today, so it's 2-1. It's fine. It's early.
Oh, yeah.
Royals tomorrow night.
Can you imagine an undefeated Major League Baseball will play 164 games?
162, yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Never.
All right. Well, anything else in the world of sports, Bailey, that we need to talk about today?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm proud of Clemson.
Oh,
Good job, basketball. Old Brownell got all kind of props on the TV, on the national stage in front of everybody after, some fans raking him through the coals. Not all the fans. That's just the way some fans are.
Yeah, but can I editorialize this for just 1 second, please?
1 second. Yes, sir.
You don't get to go back and change your mind. Okay? People that made the decision or that don't like coaches and you blast it all over social media, you don't get to change your mind.
That's right.
Thank you.
Amen. And that's what my stance on the whole thing was. You wait till the season's over and there's somebody in an administrative role that'll honestly,
it's
there's
their job to evaluate them.
Evaluation every year. I mean, I don't care if we win a national championship or go 0 and whatever, there's evaluation at the end of the year. Right. And so, this tomorrow morning, if I'm waking up and I'm going to work and I'm Brad Brownell's boss, I'm going to bring him in and we're going to talk about, what a great job he did and how we can do better next year. I mean, that's the conversation.
Right. So what's the plan for replacing these guys? What we got going on? How we doing this? What we're doing? I mean, It's a whole, there's a form, people. And Brad's going to get a copy of it.
Yep. Did you see, speaking of being excited to go to the Elite Eight and our athletic director, did you see Graham Neff? He was
Yeah.
like, I mean, he was like a kid. It was so
I'm
awesome.
just telling you, that's what I do on a daily basis.
That was
I
so
want
awesome.
our people to win.
Yeah.
It's more fun when you win.
It is definitely more fun when you win. Easter was fun. Hope everybody got a little Jesus today and got to spend some time with their family. I saw a lot of kids hunting eggs. Hopefully everybody found their eggs. Bailey looks great in his Easter best. We hope you enjoyed the show. Where baseball and softball is rocking and rolling. Thanks to the folks that entered the bracket. And we'll see how that finishes off here next weekend. Come back Wednesday. Like I say, probably a lot of football talk. And we appreciate you checking us out every Sunday and Wednesday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social media and share. Please reach out to become a sponsor. On behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
It's a great day to be a Clemson Tiger.
Happy
and
Easter.
Not one of those Cadbury Easter eggs that everybody